guys, welcome back to another video. As you guys saw from the title of today's video, I will be reading viral book talk books. These are books that have gone viral on TikTok, and I feel like there are so many books that have gone viral on TikTok over the last 2 years at least, and it's kind of hard to keep track of all of them because there's just so many, which is amazing because I feel like so many of us have rediscovered our love of reading via book talk. I recently went to Barnes & Noble and picked up a couple books that I have literally seen all over book talk. I don't really know which ones I'm going to read for this reading vlog. I've narrowed it down to 4 or 5 books that I really want to try reading to see if they're actually worth the hype, but I don't know which ones I'm actually going to end up reading. So I have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is a very popular thriller author on book talk. And then I have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is option 2. I have never read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I just don't really find her books to be all that appealing to me, but I decided to finally pick this one up and give it a chance. So that could be another option for today's reading vlog. And then I have Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, which is a fantasy. And then I have Twisted Love Book 1 by Anna Huang. This is just a romance book. I think it's Grumpy Sunshine. And then I also have one more book that I downloaded on my Kindle, and it's called If He Was With Me, I think it's what it's called. I'll probably end up picking 3 or 4 books from this pile to read for today's reading vlog, and then obviously I'll share with you guys whether or not I think the books are worth the hype that they get on book talk. Obviously this would just be my opinion, but I'm actually really excited to see what these books are all about and to see if they're actually worth the hype that they get. So without further ado, we're just going to start. I think I'm actually going to start off this reading vlog by reading Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Again, this is the first book in the Twisted series. It is a romance and it follows Alex and Ava. Alex Volkov is a devil based with the face of an angel and cursed with a past he can't escape. Driven by a tragedy that has haunted him for most of his life, his ruthless pursuits for success and vengeance leave little room for matters of the heart. But when he's forced to look after his best friend's sister, he starts to feel something in his chest. Ava Chen is a free spirit trapped by nightmares of a childhood she can't remember. But despite her broken past, she's never stopped seeing the beauty in the world, including the heart beneath the icy exterior of a man she shouldn't want. Theirs is a love that was never supposed to happen, but when it does, it unleashes secrets that could destroy them both and everything they hold dear. This kind of matches my shirt, and that was not intentional. Some of you guys have warned me that this book isn't the best out of the series, that the series actually gets better with each book. So I don't really have super high expectations for this book. I mean, I hope I end up liking it. But since so many of you guys have told me that the books just get better as you get through the series, I kind of have lowered my expectations a lot for this book. I don't really know what to expect. I am excited, so let's just jump right into reading this. There's a playlist, you guys, and one of my favorite Puerto Rican singers is actually on the playlist. I feel so proud. Mark Anthony is actually on this playlist. Just got to chapter 2 and we're already off to a good start because this book is dual POV, so we're getting both Alex and Ava's point of view, and those are my favorite type of romance books to read, so I'm super excited. I wanted to give you guys a little update. I'm making tea. I don't want my water to burn, so I'm going to pour this really quickly. I've actually really been enjoying reading this book. The writing has been super addicting and it's super fast paced, so I feel like I'm flying through the book, but the 2 main characters are literally opposites. He's very much a grump and she is pretty much all sunshine. They each had an event in their childhood that basically shaped them to be who they are now. Alex remembers absolutely everything of his childhood. He remembers the traumatic event and it definitely changed his life. Ava, on the other hand, doesn't really remember anything before the age of 9, and because she doesn't really remember what the traumatic event was, like she's been told what happened but she doesn't have any memory of that event, she decides to view the world in a positive light, and she basically chooses to see the good in people, whereas Alex does not feel that same way. Kind of interesting to see how they each have handled their traumatic childhoods and their traumatic past. I had to take a pause because there's a scene in this book where Alex puts his hands on a woman. Like, he literally grabs her by the neck, and even though she's not a good person, it doesn't give him the right to lay hands on her, and that just seriously gave me like the worst vibe from the main character. Yeah, I did not like that at all, and it definitely made me kind of side-eye Alex a bit. Like, I get it, she's not the greatest person and she did do something that was not nice, and that was actually such an asshole move, but again, that doesn't give Alex the right to lay his hands on her. You know, I'm not the biggest Alex fan right now, if I'm being honest. Okay, you guys, it is now the next morning. I actually finished this book late last night, but I needed time to process this book before I give you guys my opinion. I actually really enjoyed the storyline. I thought it was really well written. It was very entertaining. There was actually a lot going on aside from the romance plot, which made me never get bored with the book, and I literally did not want to put it down, which is why I finished it late last night. Super cloudy today, so bear with me, you guys, in case the lighting sucks, but I did have a few issues with the main character, Alex. I feel like he was a walking red flag, and if this was real life, I would literally run the other way if I ever came across a man like him, because he just had so many issues. He was so territorial. He was just not it. But since this is a fictional book, it's not real life, I'm putting my personal feelings towards Alex aside and choosing to just enjoy the book for what it was, and it definitely was entertaining. The side characters were all amazing. The main character, Ava, was such a sweetheart. My heart broke for her in so many parts of this book, and I was so happy when she overcame some of her fears. Overall, I definitely would recommend this book. Just remember that it is fictional, so some of the things that Alex does in this book is absolutely not okay, but it is an entertaining read. So if you are looking for a entertaining read, definitely check this book out, but make sure you look up the triggers beforehand, because there are some heavy topics discussed in this book, and the author actually gives you a warning before you even start the first chapter, which I think is very helpful. I think I'm gonna give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I debated giving it a 3-star rating just because I really didn't like Alex, but at the end of the day, I really enjoyed the plot and the storyline. What is with this lighting? This lighting is horrible. So I decided to just keep it at a 4-star rating, and I'm definitely going to check out the other books in the series. I'm really excited because the next book follows 2 side characters, Bridget and Reese, and I actually really like them together. In this book, we got like a small glimpse into their relationship, and I'm just like really excited to read the rest of their love story, or to read their love story in the next books. It is a new day, which means a new book talk book to read. I just made myself a nice cup of coffee and I'm ready. The book that we're going to be reading today is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I hope that's how you pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry if it's not. I believe this is a YA fantasy. It's the first book in a series that has been very popular on Book Talk for a while now. I've literally seen this book everywhere. I mean, I could easily say that about every book that's featured in this video, because every book has gone viral and every book has been seen literally everywhere by everyone. But yeah, this is a very popular YA fantasy. I haven't had the best luck with YA fantasy, if I'm being honest, so I'm kind of nervous to start this one. Hopefully it's good. Mayor's world is divided by blood. those with red and those with silver. Mare and her family are lowly res, destined to serve the silver elite whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. When Mare accidentally discovers a power of her own she didn't know she had, the Silver King is forced to hide the impossibility of her power and pretend she's a long-lost silver princess betrothed to one of his sons. And before long, her actions put into motion a deadly and violent dance, pitting prince against prince and Mare against her own heart. It actually sounds pretty good, and the cover is really pretty. I like the cover of this book. So like I said, we're just going to read this one today and see how it goes. I think I just met Mare's love interest. He's definitely not who she thought he was, and things just got a little interesting in the book. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of enjoying it. I didn't think I would. It's reminded me a little bit of the Folk of the Air series. Like, it's giving me Cruel Prince vibes, even though it's very different from the Cruel Prince in a good way. But I think it's only given me similar vibes because the main character is 17, about to turn 18, so it has that young vibe feel. Obviously it's YA, so of course it's going to have a young feel to the book. I just got to chapter 7, so I'm kind of curious to see how everything plays out, because the fact that this character Kale is not who Mare assumed him to be changes things immensely. Enjoying it so far. I just got to chapter 11. I'm about 100 pages into the book, and I'm at the part of the book where Mare just discovered her power. She had no idea she was capable of doing the things that she has done so far, and even though she knows she has this new power, this new gift, she doesn't really know how to use it on command, and she's really confused as to how she got this gift in the first place. She's kind of in the process of trying to figure that out. The royal family, of course, doesn't want anyone to find out her true origins. I feel like the king knows more about why Mare has this new gift than anyone else, but he wants to keep that little nugget of information to himself for his own personal gain. But the king and queen have basically decided to marry Mare to their younger son. Obviously Mare is a red and the royal family are silvers, so they want to pass her off as one of them, as a silver who was just raised as a red by mistake, by a chance of fate, and they're hoping to use her to stop the rebellion that the reds are planning against the silvers. It's actually a very entertaining story so far. It's definitely a little slow, but I find that normally the first book in every fantasy series tends to be slow for a reason. They're really trying to build the world, trying to build the characters, so the reader gets to know every single person in the story. So I don't really mind the slowness in fantasy books. This one isn't super long either, so I'm not too concerned with how slow it's going. I do hope it picks up eventually. I'm still very much enjoying it though. Going to continue reading for a little bit and give you guys an update once I have one. I don't know who to trust right now. I am so conflicted. I feel like something's about to go down and it's not going to be good. I feel like there's a character in here that's going to betray Mare and she's not going to see it coming. But hopefully I'm wrong, because I really like this character, but I don't know. Something just doesn't seem right. And I feel like something's about to go down. I'm kind of nervous. Literally just finished Red Queen, and you guys, I'm so surprised by what I'm about to say because I was not expecting this outcome, but I have to say that I actually really enjoyed this book. I didn't think I was going to. Like I've said before, YA can be really a hit or miss for me, and even though this one reminded me a lot of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, I enjoyed this one 10 times better, mainly because I didn't find the main character Mare to be as annoying as Jude was in The Cruel Prince. The only thing with her was that she was really naive and she was getting played, which as a reader you could see that she was getting played from like a mile away. It was so obvious, which leads me to my next thing. The big twists in the ending were so predictable. Like, I was able to guess the big twists and the big reveal fairly early on in the book, but the fact that the ending was so predictable didn't ruin the storyline at all for me. And I think it had to do with the characters and the fact that the writing was actually really addicting, and it did start off slow. Kind of assumed that this book was going to be slow because it is the first book in a fantasy series, and like I said before, the first book in fantasy series tend to be very slow because they're focusing on character building and world building. And although I felt like this book dragged a bit, especially at the beginning, it did pick up towards the last couple chapters, and I literally did not want to put this book down as I got to the last like 10 chapters because so much was happening and so much was getting revealed. I really enjoyed this book. I definitely would recommend. Overall, I think I give it like a 3 out of 5 stars, maybe a 3.5. Had the ending not been so predictable, this book would have easily been a 4-star read for me, but since the ending was so predictable and I was able to guess what was going to happen, I'm only giving it a 3-star rating, or 3.5. I haven't decided, but I do like it enough that I'm actually going to continue the rest of the series, and I'm actually excited to continue the rest of the series. I'm kind of curious to see the main character's journey and to see how she defends her people. I'm just really curious to see how everything plays out, so definitely going to be picking up the next couple books in the series very soon. And now that I think of it, it kind of reminds me of the Shatter Me series as well, because if you read the Shatter Me series, then you know it's like a dystopian YA fantasy type of series as well, and the main character in that series, Juliet, has a special gift or power that she doesn't really know how to control, at least in the first couple books in the series. And in this book, main character Mare discovers that she has a special power, and throughout the book she's basically trying to learn how to use her power and how to control it, while at the same time trying to fight for her people and to fight against the king and queen. Now that I'm actually talking about it, I think it reminds me more of the Shatter Me series than the Cruel Prince. It gives me very similar vibes to those books, but it still remains different in its own way, which is good. You guys, it is now the next day. I'm literally wearing the same jacket as yesterday. Ignore it. It's just super cozy and I don't want to take it off. But it is a new day, so time for a new read. If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that I'm reading 2 YA novels back to back. Who am I right now? That never happens. But If He Had Been With Me is supposed to be a really sad YA novel from what I've heard. And if you know anything about me, then you know how much I hate sad books. I really do not like to read sad books. Like, why would I make myself sad on purpose? Like, I don't want to do that. But since I've seen this book literally everywhere, even though I think it's actually pretty old, I think this came out a while ago. Yeah, it came out in 2013 and it's just now going viral on TikTok. Isn't that crazy? The power of TikTok. This book has been out for years and it's now just becoming super popular. One of the only reasons I actually want to read this book is because in the synopsis or on the back cover of the book, it does say that if you're a fan of Colleen Hoover, then you're going to really enjoy this book. And I'm a huge fan of Colleen Hoover, so my expectations are pretty high for this one, you guys. But this one is about Autumn and Finn used to be inseparable, but then something changed, or they changed. Now they do their best to ignore each other. Autumn has her boyfriend Jamie and her close-knit group of friends, and Finn has become that boy at school, the one that everyone wants to be around. But come August, things will change forever, and as time passes, Autumn will be forced to confront how else life might have been different if they had never parted ways. I'm confused. Did this book come out in 2013 or 2019? I guess it truly doesn't even matter. I'm going to read it on the Kindle app on my iPad since it is free. It is included in my Prime reading account. That way, if I don't like it, I won't get mad at myself for spending money on it. Going to read it on my iPad and obviously give you guys updates as I go. So let's get to reading. Right off the bat, I'm finding out what happened to Finny, literally from the first chapter, and I'm kind of curious as to how the author is going to keep my attention if I already know what's going to happen to one of the characters. I didn't expect to find out what was going to happen right from the get-go. So from what I'm gathering so far, Autumn and Finny have been literally inseparable since they were born. Their moms are best friends. Finny and Autumn basically have grown up together. They're neighbors. They've gone to the same schools. Their moms have like weekly dinners. They celebrate holidays together. But at some point during middle school, Autumn and Finny kind of drift apart, or start to drift apart, because they don't have any classes together and they just start making different friends instead of sticking together. So by the time high school rolls around, they're basically strangers and they're not friends. Like, they still celebrate holidays together and their moms still have like weekly dinners, but their relationship is no longer the same. Finny and Autumn's relationship, which is obviously sad. Like, drifting away from a childhood best friend is never easy. It's obviously very clear that Autumn and Finny still care for each other despite drifting apart, but Autumn is giving me I'm not like the other girl vibes, and she's trying so hard to be different, and she's I guess rebelling against normal high school standards, which I guess is pretty natural and normal for high school students to do. It's a little annoying at times with like, I'm not like the other girls, or I'm not like the other high school students. I wear a tiara with my outfits, so I'm different. Like, it's kind of annoying. Then I remind myself that this is a YA novel, so of course the main character is going to be a little immature just because of her age. It's not bad, but it's definitely very, very YA. I'm seriously side-eyeing one of the side characters, Jamie. He's Autumn's boyfriend and he's giving off very manipulative vibes. I'm gonna need her to break up with him ASAP, because I'm just not getting good vibes from this Jamie at all. And I feel like Autumn realizes what he's doing, but to make him happy and to not pick a fight, she just goes with it even though she knows better. Girl, no, you deserve better. I haven't even bothered with my hair today. Also, just ignore my hair. I don't know what my hair is doing right now. Alright guys, it's a lot later and I finished the book. Honestly, I didn't update you guys as much during my time reading this book because there really wasn't a lot to update. I feel like not a lot happened. Basically, we got to see Finny and Autumn's high school experience, mainly Autumn's high school experience. Like, we got to see them start off high school as freshmen and then eventually graduate. You also see like Autumn's first love, first relationship, first heartbreak, and there's a bunch of other things happening in her life, like her parents arguing, her parents eventually getting a divorce, which is quite obvious from the very beginning that that was going to happen. But you also get to see how her relationship and friendship with Finny evolves throughout their high school years. And by the time I got to the ending, I really didn't feel a whole lot. I'm not gonna lie. I expected this book to break my heart into a million pieces, especially since I knew what was going to happen from reading the first chapter. But I think that's why I really wasn't affected emotionally by this book at all, because I already knew what was going to happen. So it kind of took away from the emotional punch that I was expecting at the end. If the author had included Finny's point of view in this book, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more, and it would have definitely broken my heart a lot more, because I would have been able to see his thoughts and learn his experiences and see like what he felt towards Autumn throughout the years. But I only got Autumn's point of view. I also feel like this book dragged a bit. There were definitely parts that were very slow and were filled with what I think was unnecessary drama and unnecessary like things. I'm not gonna lie, I did find myself skimming through some of the pages and through some of the chapters because I was getting quite bored with the plot in certain parts of the book. So overall, I think I give this book like a 2 out of 5 stars, maybe a 2.5 if I'm feeling generous. I don't know, it just really didn't give me what I needed it to give, and I felt like such a letdown. Like, I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting to cry. I was expecting for this book to, again, break my heart into a million different pieces, but it didn't really do any of that. So yeah, for that reason, I'm sticking with a 2-star rating, or maybe 2.5. I haven't decided. It's hard filming these videos, reading books, and then rating them right after because I haven't given myself time to completely digest the book. So my rating might change for this book or for the other books that I talked about in this reading vlog by the time you guys watch my monthly reading wrap-ups, because by then I'll have digested all of these books and will have a more concrete opinion on these books. Overall, an okay read, pretty quick. I flew through this book mainly because I was skimming through some of the pages, but at the end it was kind of meh, and I know that I won't think about this book or its characters ever again, which I know is pretty harsh, but yeah, this book just didn't do it for me. With that being said, I think I'm going to end off this reading vlog here. I think I've read enough book talk books and I don't want to get myself into a reading slump. Also, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books. What were your thoughts? Do you agree with my opinion? Do you disagree? I would love to know. And that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you a part of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.